Um, so first of all, I need to make a confession. I was very shameful because I don't think I have a careful preparation for today because I don't know even I'm allowed to say some stuff like this, but I just received information about this TED Talk just the beginning of the week, and I took just like I took a half week to be in the fever and 39 degrees or something. So as you can see, I was so stressful, and that's the let's say I'm right now. I'm in a perfect example of what's called peer pressure. Yep. And even organizer says that okay, you can hold your phone, but I think that as a peer pressure, and this is I'm gonna do example for you guys today, that we can do the TED talk without a script. Okay. Yep. And let's see. Okay. So we come to life, and let's say life was like a beach with full of stones, and every type of stones was blessed by God, and each of us was unique stones with the different shapes and the different colors, as you can see it. And and you know, we cannot apply the same pressure that we used to make the diamond on the screen by now, because every type of stones we require different amount of pressure to be built, to have formed the shape, to become flawless, to become the best version of itself. But if you apply the same pressure that you used to make diamond on pebbles, on the right corners, what's going to happen? It will be broken. So it's humans. That's the story number one I bring up today. Story number two, I want to talk about peers. So in my book, similarities will lead to the notion of peers. And what are funny is, we humans, we do know that we're different, but we always assume that we're similar. We're kind of similar just because of we was born and raised up in the same family. We study at the same school. We live in the same country or territory. And we join the same TED Talk. Yeah. And we call each other a peers. And we consider that, okay, we're peers. And then we start comparing. And by comparing, we suffer. And that's the endless circle of the depression. So as I just said in the story number one, that's it. We are unique stones. We're different in colors and shapes. So we're not that similar. Not at all. That's the story number two. Story number three, I'm going to bring up something about the history. Let's say we human, but as I said before, we do know that we different. We came from a different background, but we love the idea of comparing. We long for the feeling of comparison. Why? Because by comparison, we can show that we're better. Yeah, better than him, than her, than most of our peers. For what? Just because we want to get what the so-called social recognition. And that definition haunts us. And have you ever wondered why all of that's come from? I mean, the old notion about the peers, about the peer pressure, about the comparison, where all that's come from. I believe that the fact will shock you because it's not new whatsoever. It's not new. actually, it's been around since the prehistoric time. Let's say it was a long, long time ago, like we was born and we was defined as a social animal, as you can see on the screen. And by that definition, to live in harmonious life, in that kind of society, we have to stay socialized. We have to interact with each other quite a lot. But at the end of the day, the question is, why in the beginnings, why right off the bat, we chose to live in a society? Why didn't we choose to live alone? I mean, like, why we chose to live together? For what? And when I read tons of books, and then to give me the answer, we long for one more feeling. We long for the feeling of belonging. And the more you depend on that kind of feeling, the more you're going to be affected by the pressure created by the peers in your own society. That's the story number 3. And that's me, myself. So the story number 4 is a very special story because I want to share about my own story to take you to the journey to go inside each of us. And I want, through this story, I want to show you like how to feel, what the contemplation, what's the importance of the contemplations when you think about inner self. So let's see. A few years back, I, running is not my thing, but I'm a big fan of road cycling, so you can call me. I'm a keen cyclist. And a few years back, I decided to cycle alone from Saigon here to Hanoi. It took me more than a month to do that. And from Hanoi, I continued my journey with my best buddy back then to Hà Giang. And from Hà Giang, we went all the way back to the northernmost of Vietnam, this beautiful country. And for some of you who don't know, that place was called Lũng Cú Flag Tower. It's very near to the China border. And the thing is, on the way, I keep telling myself some cliche things, some very corny things, like, all right, it's only you. And so it all happened in my thought. Like, oh, it's only you now. This is your bike. You got no pedal. You're alone. And this is your bike. Nobody will go past you and look at you and say anything, and put any comments or something like that. It's not only you. So you know what you thought. And I've made a very silly promise to myself. I don't know why and how. I was so serious at the time that I won't touch my feet on the ground until I reach to the top of the slopes. You know that those slopes in Hà Giang is very high, around 12 degrees. And I don't know, I made that kind of promise to myself. I just want to do that. Nobody come watch me. I watch myself. And you know that I turned out that was the dumbest promise I've ever made in my whole life. Because when was the day? That was the day, it was like midday. It was scorching hot. If my memory serves, it's the temperature around 35, 36 even degrees Celsius on that day. And it's scorching hot. It's really, really hot. And it's just before the lunchtime. So I was starving too. And you know that all the way I always have to keep putting a lot of pep talks on my talk so that myself could continue the journey. That's kind of journey. Okay? And in the end, there's the times, that I have to, like shift my whole body weight, left and right, left and right, left and right. No touching legs. I told myself. I'm very strict about that. You can do whatever you like, but no touching legs. You have to stay on your bike. You own your bike. This is your bike. You own it. You hear me? Hey, that's something I tell myself like that. And at the end of the day, I did it. I didn't let myself down. No compromise, whatever. So I did it. And you know that for the young men like me, doing like that, I'm not going to say it easy or tough, but it depends on your determination. Let's say your determination. You want to do it or not? Because no one will be there to judge that, oh, this guy can do it or not. This guy break the rule he himself set up in advance. No one's going to be there to do that. But let's say if I put that kind of pressure on somebody else, let's say somebody else, it means anybody sitting in the room right now. I'm not bragging, not to brag, but don't take this the wrong way. I mean, if you put that kind of pressure from you guys from now, I don't think you guys can make it. Why? Maybe you're physically stronger than me. Yes, why not? You're younger than me. I and Tin share the same age. Maybe now. We all, but you guys are young. Maybe you had the better bike. But let me tell you what. What you don't have is the kind of motivation I have. I have a bigger dream. I have a bigger reason to do those kind of things that you guys consider as useless, the meaningless. But with me, it's so meaningful. I don't know why. Maybe with me, you keep your words to yourself. That makes the meaning. And when I share the story like this, if you ask me, if now you applied the same pressure to the different people, and you want to expect the same result, let me tell you up front, no, never. Because like the story number 1, I told you, every storm has a breaking point. Likewise, humans, so do humans. Every man has a breaking point, and no two breaking points are the same. Next story, the story number 5. This is the real deal. So now we're gonna be, talking about the real elephant in the room. Let me tell you a secret. We've been living in illusion, where all the notion about peer pressure, about the comparisons, doesn't even exist. Yes, you heard it right. It doesn't exist. What we have by now here, so everything, let's say every desperation, every hopelessness that you and I has been sharing, has been experiencing, has been suffering, what is it? It all boils down to one thing. Self-pressure. You hear this clearly? Self-pressure. That's usually take the forms of questions. And those questions usually take the form of inner voices. You been through that? You been through that kind of situations before? Okay. And with me, those kind of self-pressure is a real deal. Why? Why is it a real deal? Because if you cannot solve that kind of problem, you cannot handle those kind of inner voices properly, it's going to be a big trouble. You put yourself in danger. And those kind of danger, will follow you like forever. Why? Because it's just like your own shadow. You cannot run away from your shadow, can you? Right? They put it this way. You can argue with me, like, okay, sometimes I can run away from peer pressure. By what? Closing your eyes. I'm still looking at anything. And then I feel nothing. No pressure. No peer pressure. Yes, right. But you cannot do the same with peer pressure. I'm sorry, self-pressure. Why? Because if you do the same, you close your eye. The moment you close your eye, you start seeing yourself. That's the end of story number 5. This is the last story. I don't have more. This is the last story. Okay. So the last story, I want to tell you the way to handle those kind of pressure that I just call self-pressure. So we have 2 notions here. Let's say the self-pressure, basically, will create a psychological gap between your realities, as you can see on your left, and your expectation, as you can see on your right. The bigger the gap is, the more suffering and desperate you're going to feel. Trust me. And by that, let's move on to the solution. Solution number one, I'll handle the left one. How to adjust your realities. Your reality means your status, your stated quote, your background, anything. That's your performance, your current performance by now. How to adjust that? You walked down the street, you saw somebody, you saw your peers, you saw somebody better than you, and you say, okay, come on, he's better than me about this and this and this. And you want to accept that. You try, okay, did you accept that? He better than me about this, but I better than him about this. You try to accept that. You try to, let's say, put yourself in illusion again. But you don't know that something you cannot ignore forever. Life is no Nintendo game. You cannot unsee what you saw. You cannot unknow what you knew. And you cannot undo what you did. So that's the problem. The cat is out of the bag now. There's no rewind button in life. So that's the point. So the next time you see somebody better than you, consider him or her. Learn from it. So that's it. You cannot run away forever sometimes. That will come back, will haunt you, and hurt your self-confidence in the long run, trust me. Solution number two, about your expectation. How can you narrow down this gap by that expectation? How can you adjust that one expectation? So normally, we see somebody the first time. Right away, we jump right into conclusion and say, okay, I set out some expectations for this guy. But what we don't know is, we rarely know somebody. We don't know what it's been through to be able to be where they are today. We never know how and why they end up doing what they've been doing. Maybe you can argue with me, okay, I know how he did that. Okay, that's just how. That's just how he did it step by step. Okay, you can know that. But what you don't know is why they did that at the beginning, in the first place. You never question that kind of question. You look at somebody too good, but you don't know. You just know how to be good, but you don't know why in the first place. They chose to throw themselves into the adversity, into the difficulty, into the difficult situation, annoying situations. Why and why and why, and the list goes on. You don't know that. And maybe, this is just maybe, on their way, sometime, at some point, they got no choice. But you do. So that makes the difference here. So that's why when you see somebody so good, don't set that as your standards because you don't know their stories. You don't know what they've been through. Bottom line, this is my last slide. Bottom line, I just walked you through 6 different stories. And these are my 3 challenges that I want to share with you. Number 1, about your peers, I challenge you to expect less. What do I mean by that? Let's say, now I forgot the script. Yeah, seriously, today I didn't prepare anything. I just speak from my heart, okay? And yeah, and from my peers, yeah, expect less, please. That's why I need no anymore to say. Number 2, about your own, about yourself. I challenge you to do more, to feel more, and to try more. Why? How? So the next time you have the chance to upgrade your entirety, your self-confidence, like the way I do it with my bike, you have the chance to tell you something in your head, okay? To do that. Because that, the golden chance, you don't see every day. Take that. Do it. Upgrade your entirety. And that is the factor that will build up your self-confidence in the long run. And the last thing I don't want to challenge you. I know that this one, some of you might disagree with me on this, but I'm just saying it. With me, all the notion about peer pressure, self pressure, comparison, all of that suck. Why? I challenge you to have some gratitude, to have some humility, because at the end of the day, no matter who you are, no matter where you came from, don't forget the fact that you were born unique. You're one of a kind. No matter what others might say to you, no matter what, you're one of a kind. Let me just finalize my speech today by an image. We go back to the image in story number 1. Each of us is a unique pebble. Maybe you are the unique diamond, who knows? On the beach of life, you shine in your own way. There's a famous saying by Albert Einstein that I love to say today. Everybody is a genius. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb the tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Thank you.